Hidden deep in Manchuria during World War II, Japan built a secret facility known as Unit 731. What began as a military research center soon turned into a site of unspeakable experiments. Prisoners exposed to deadly diseases, human bodies frozen and dissected, and entire villages targeted with biological weapons. For decades, the truth remained buried, shielded by silence, denial, and even protection from powerful nations. In this story, we uncover how Unit 731 was created, the horrors that happened inside, the voices of those who suffered, and the disturbing aftermath that shaped history. Unit 731 was established in 1936 under the command of General Shirō Ishii, a brilliant yet ruthless army physician. Officially, it was presented as a water purification unit, but behind the walls of its sprawling complex in Harbin, its true mission was far darker: to develop biological weapons through human experimentation. Thousands of Chinese civilians, prisoners of war, and even some from other nations were secretly brought here, stripped of their identities, and reduced to nothing more than logs for experimentation. Inside the compound, cruelty became routine. Prisoners were deliberately infected with plague, anthrax, cholera, and other deadly pathogens. The purpose was not treatment, but observation. Scientists recorded in detail how the diseases ravaged the human body from the first symptom to death. There were no cures offered, no attempts at mercy. The suffering itself was considered data. Victims were not only infected, but also subjected to surgeries without anesthesia. Limbs were amputated to study blood loss. Organs were removed to observe their function. And frostbite experiments left prisoners exposed to sub-zero temperatures until their flesh turned black. Each act was carried out under the guise of science, stripping humanity down to mere specimens. Prisoners included men, women, children, and even pregnant mothers. Many were lured with false promises of work or safety, only to be taken into the walls of Unit 731. Once inside, there was no return. Every subject was condemned to die within the laboratory, their suffering hidden from the outside world. Beyond medical experiments, Unit 731 also turned entire regions into testing grounds. Villages in Manchuria were secretly contaminated with cholera and plague, leading to outbreaks that killed thousands of civilians. Fleas carrying deadly bacteria were released from low-flying planes, spreading disease as part of Japan's military strategy. These attacks served as rehearsals for biological warfare, using innocent lives as unwitting test subjects. The cruelty extended beyond disease experiments. Unit 731 turned living prisoners into test subjects for new weapons. Grenades were thrown at close range to measure blast impact. Flamethrowers burned bound victims alive, while chemical gases like mustard gas suffocated others. Every reaction was documented in detail as soldiers observed without emotion. Inside the compound, science and warfare merged into one, where pain and death became nothing more than useful data for the Imperial Army. As Japan's defeat in 1945 loomed, Unit 731 scrambled to erase its existence. Documents were burned, buildings destroyed, and the remaining prisoners executed to silence any witnesses. General Shirō Ishii and his team abandoned the site,
leaving behind only ashes and unmarked graves. What should have been exposed as a war crime of unimaginable scale instead slipped into the shadows, hidden beneath the chaos of Japan's surrender.
But the story did not end with Japan's surrender. Instead of being tried for their crimes, many of Unit 731's leaders were secretly granted immunity by the United States. In exchange, their gruesome research data, born from torture and death, was handed over to American military scientists. While Germany's war criminals faced justice at Nuremberg, the men behind Unit 731 walked free, protected by a veil of Cold War interests.
For decades, the atrocities of Unit 731 remained buried under silence and denial. Survivors who spoke out were dismissed, while documents were destroyed or locked away. Only in the late 20th century did testimonies from former staff and victims begin to emerge, forcing the world to confront what had long been hidden. Yet, official acknowledgement from Japan remained limited, and justice for the victims was never truly served.
The legacy of Unit 731 continues to cast a dark shadow. Families of victims still seek recognition. Historians struggle against denial, and debates over responsibility remain unresolved. Even today, the site in Harbin stands as a grim reminder, transformed into a museum that confronts visitors with the haunting evidence of what was done in the name of science and war. The silence of governments and the absence of trials only deepen the wound, leaving history itself as the last witness.